Okay, so this is a quick instructional tooltip video on how to either reconfigure or configure the AutoCAD tools for FX360 within AutoCAD. So this is quite a common thing either on initial setup or also if you've had, for example, a reinstall of your machine. Perhaps you had AutoCAD reinstalled or a new machine and you need to get the FX360 CAD tools back up and running. So first task is you need to know where your actual CAD tools have been copied onto your machine. You can install them on a network drive or a local drive. Doesn't have to be in any specific folder, but you do need to know where that folder is. So on my particular machine, these are installed on the C:\backstroke FX360 CAD tools folder. That may be different on your machine, and you need to know the correct folder. That's the most important thing, where most people go wrong. So that will contain a whole load of bitmap files and also the menu files and the actual CAD tools themselves, which is a DLL file. Okay, so now we know what that folder is, then we can actually make a note of that information, and I'm going to copy it to the clipboard, and then we can go into AutoCAD. So in AutoCAD, first thing we need to do is actually get into the configuration of AutoCAD. So we can type config at the command line, press enter, and go to the Files tab, and we have a tree structure here. So the one we're looking for is the support file search path. So if we open that up, and if you're doing a reinstallation, you need to just look down here and see if there's anything that suggests it's relating to FX Base or FX360 that may already be set up. Again, another thing of confusion is if you've already got some entries in there pointing to a previous installation of the CAD tools, that can cause confusion to some users. So I can't see anything in there, so that's fine. So what we're going to need to do is we're going to choose add, and we now need to put in the path of the folder which we found identified earlier. So that's my FX360 CAD tools. That's on my machine, may be different on your machine unless that's where you've copied them to. So we can then OK that, and that's all we really need to do within the configuration area. So the next part is we need to actually load up the menu. So we now type in CUI load. Here we now want to select the actual menu file. Now I want to actually look in that same folder as before, so I'm going to actually just paste it in before so I can browse to this. So I'm looking in that same location. Now sometimes you may have a copy of a CUI as opposed to CUIX. Both will work, one's compiled, one's not compiled. So you need to make sure you load the version that's correct. So if you're running AutoCAD 2013 or a later version, you need to be loading the FXS4_remote 13. If you're on an earlier version, then you'll probably be loading just the FXS4.CUI, okay, or possibly even the 2008 one. So I'm going to select CIX and load up the remote 13. That selects it. I now have to click load. If you don't click load, it won't actually make any difference. So now you should see that it's appeared here, and also we see some toolbars have actually already started to appear. Okay, so we can close that. Okay, and on closing, you see we've now got, if you're running with the ribbon, we've got a new ribbon tool palette, and we also have the toolbar. Both of these do exactly the same functions. You can run with either the toolbar or the ribbon palette. It really doesn't make too much difference. Okay, so if you find that when you load these up you get smiley faces or the icons are missing, then you need to double check that you have those the bitmap files, the BMP files in the folder that we spoke about earlier, and also double check that the support path that you've defined is definitely correct. That will be one reason why you get smiley faces or missing icons. So the next thing we need to do is actually check that the CAD tools are running. So we can click on this first one, which is load the application, and this has actually indicated that the file was outside of our trusted locations. Okay, now we can say that we want to load that, and that's okay, and it's given a warning message because this is the first time on this machine. It hasn't got an ini file, which is fine. Okay. So that's loaded the CAD tools. On older versions of AutoCAD, you may find that you have to actually make a modification to the configuration file for AutoCAD. If we look where the AutoCAD is installed, so typically that's going to be C program files, Autodesk, and then AutoCAD 2014 or 2013, whichever your version is, and so on. And then you should find there's an acad.exe.config. Edit this with something like Notepad. And if you're getting an issue where it doesn't like loading and it's saying there's a security issue, then you'll need to paste in to the runtime section this line here, which will be in the notes below this video. Okay, so this line basically allows AutoCAD to load up tools from remote sources. So if you've installed the CAD tools on a shared network drive, you may well have to add this to say that it's okay to load it. Okay, and then you just save that change. Obviously you'll need to come out of AutoCAD and go back in again for that change to take effect. Okay, so we got a message about the configuration file being missing. Now there's a tool command which is not on the actual menu, and that is fx_config. Okay, so if you just type fx, the underscore, and then config, it will warn us that there's no ini file, and it will load up the settings panel. Now this will tell you where it's going to create the configuration file, which will normally be the same folder where the CAD tools are located, and then we can set up the rest of the parameters. Now the MG block files for the block definitions, so normally put this below the CAD tools folder, so I'm going to configure that like this. The actual CAD tools themselves, again, normally that will be the same location, so I'm just going to set that up to the same location there. You can set a default scale and area units. The security model you may need to change. It depends on how your system's set up. I'm just going to run with anonymous. And also things like the proxy server, again, that's more advanced for this than we're going to go into for this particular presentation. So that's if you have particular issues connecting with the server. But other than that, the main thing you need to do is define the server URL. Now if I just flip into my web interface, so this is the standard FX space, if we look up here, this is the URL we're looking at. We don't want the page at the end, we just want the first part here. So that's actually already set. We can see that's the same. So it's whatever you normally type into your browser, and then if you're happy with that, hit test connection, and it should come back with a green flag and said it's connected successfully. Okay, if it doesn't identify you as a particular user, that's not necessarily a problem, but usually it will come back and it will identify you as a particular user. That really depends on the security model you're using. Okay, so providing that tested okay, you can save changes, and that's it. You're now set up and ready to go with the CAD tools on AutoCAD. Thank you for watching.